Hi, this is Web Suspect, and this video is on a new product, the HTC One A9 that came to my attention this weekend. Some people said this looks an awful lot like the Apple iPhone, and in fact, the A9 is the current processor used in the iPhone when you go down to the specifications. So it's very clever how they did this. So. Here's the clinch. If you buy an iPhone 6S or 6S Plus, the 6S starts at $649. It goes up to $849, and the iPhone 6S Plus goes from $749 to $949. And that depends on how much memory you buy it. So the memory is secured by the fingerprint reader, and then you buy as much memory as you want for the phone. So the caveat here, well, the small is 4.7 and the large is 5.5. So the HTC One has one size. It's 5 inches. So it's kind of in between the S and the S Plus. But here's some of the interesting things on the phone is it has a Snapdragon 617 octa-core processor. So the iPhone has a quad-core 32-bit processor, I believe. That's what I read in the specs. And the HTC One A9 has a octa-core. So it has two speeds, 1.5 gigahertz and 1.2 gigahertz. And the reason is these phones switch speeds depending on what they're doing, and that can use less power. So a lot of these phones, they can throttle down to maybe one core and maybe 200 megahertz and go to sleep or whatever, and that extends the battery life. In addition to that, the memory, it comes with 32 gigabytes of read-only memory and 3 gigabytes of extended memory, but the micro SD memory, which is the kind you can add on the little card, you can add up to 2 terabytes. So if we go back to and this is in no way a promotion for these products. The most the iPhone you can get is 120 gigabytes that people have been complaining. So I think 16 gigabytes is too small. A lot of people said that's part of Apple's marketing strategy, that the base model should be $649 but 32 gigabytes. But that's a hoot that this phone goes all the way up to 2 terabytes. It's kind of like temptation, hey, we're tempting you with this phone. It's got twice as many features or twice as much power as the Apple iPhone, and the fingerprint reader's down here, and it costs half as much. So Apple has been making a ton of money with their phone by it costs them about $200 to make the phone. I think people know that, and they sell it for $600 to $800. So most of Apple's profits make from the phone. And the big thing that the selling point for the phone now is this the black on the screen gets very black. So instead of like a dark charcoal gray, the screen gets very black. And my whole thing on this is and I'll get back to this in a little bit, is criticism of Apple. So the whole question is, can Apple implement the projects that Steve Jobs started before he died, or will the company just kind of start faltering again? And it's a page I found on Wiki. I was looking up criticisms of Apple, and it's a long list of criticisms, misleading warranty claims, data security, employee suicides, and there's a couple more that I see that aren't on here. Collusion with record labels, App Store. It's a lot of them. So one idea I had a while back, and if anybody from Apple watches this, would be a good idea, was for Apple to appoint Steve Wozniak to create a new position called Chief Quality Control Officer, and put Steve Wozniak in that. So if the company, not quite the position that Steve Jobs had as CEO, but if something was getting screwed up real bad, then Steve Wozniak could help get the company put it in the right direction, kind of like a co-pilot almost. I would be very tempted to buy this phone. However, I have been aware of this for about the last year that HTC has been stealing patents. Apple sued HTC over iPhone patents as early as March 2010, but HTC has come in the news in the last year for being one of these companies that goes around with a group of Chinese hackers and hacks into corporations and tries to steal plans for stuff. And that's what I was originally looking for. That you can do some more research on that if I have time. I may be looking into that. Most of the lawsuits I'm seeing from Apple regarding its iOS GUI, I think should fall to Google. However, Apple's chosen to sue people who make Android phones. So, in other words, there's a group of companies like HTC, Samsung making smartphones and then putting Android on it. I think it's a big mistake for Apple not to really. I think Apple's almost acting like they're afraid of Google. I'm not sure why. Maybe I'll try Apple stealing U.S. patents. U.S. report warns on China IP theft. Samsung LG really locked in patent theft case. Some of these thefts go to companies like Sun Microsystems has had extensive patent looting from Chinese corporations. The one thing I thought I would kind of go to this last article we had last week. Apple loses patent to the University of Wisconsin, and the original award was for $862 million. Apple got it reduced to about $200 million, $250 million, somewhere around that. And so Apple had hired some of these university professors from University of Wisconsin, and then they had in turn brought a group of patents from alumni with them, and so I'm not sure if it was intentional or by accident. I would think possibly it was intentional that these professors were hired to bring these patents over. And so I thought I would finish like on the golden rule, because I heard CEO Tim Cook say that that he grew up in a Southern Baptist state or whatever, and the golden rule, Wikipedia says, the golden rule of ethic or reciprocity. It's a new one that's been going around. It's kind of like a concept of karma in Christianity. Is a moral maxim or principle which may appear as either positive or negative injunction. One should treat others as one likes others to treat oneself. Positive form, one should not treat others in ways that one should not be treated. In both forms, it serves as a directive to treat others as does oneself. Book with De la Loi et de Leroy, God, the Law, and the King, by Bernard D. Majeski. So that's just a final thought. I'll make some comments below and some links. Tell me what you think. I mean, in terms of an iPhone, my ideal phone would be an iPhone. However, $900 for a $200 phone to me is a little bit out of my price range. This phone is in my price range, but however, it's sort of beyond obvious that even though it's a better phone than the iPhone, that this company ripped the shit off of Apple. I hate to put that kind of in a sloppy term, but it's just ridiculous. I'll put a bunch of links in the comments below. Tell me what you think. That did HTC saying that Apple ripped them off. I don't know. That's a pretty tempting phone there that they came up with, but they screwed Apple. And so the technical thing is you can't copyright a look or a feel. So it's totally okay for HTC to do this. They just can't put an Apple link on the phone.